No Torbjorn, so dive is an option here for Legacy Esports. No Roadhog either. So this is very interesting.
Boobs need to wake up.
Yeah, maybe.
Looks like he's fallen asleep.
It's been a long day.
Can't park there, by the way.
What, you gonna tell him?
I will.
Alright. Go on then.
Head over to Goldshire Studios and hit him up. Well, D-Field, see what he can do on the Ashe.
Very talented hit scan player. He does play a bit of Ashe to Athletico now. They're going to be forced into the bunker, but Rani's already taken him out straight away.
Absolutely smacked in the face.
Design's going to go for this res, but he might be baited into it.
Or gets booped off, but the res was confirmed in the end. So D-Field is back in action for Athletico. Not for too long though, as Noosh just charges him down. And it hasn't been a fun game so far for D-Field. Hasn't really got any room at all on the Ashe. And that's really what you need. You want to be firing uncontested, but Legacy have done a good job of jumping on top of him. Only the one loss so far for Legacy, and that is going to be brought straight back into the fight by Stolen. Poor old Goobs, not much to be done there.
Rani dropping in and finishing off the fight with those rockets. Wubo's going to come in late, but he's not going to be able to get much done.
Yeah, only another 5 seconds.
Poor D-Field. 20% ult charge. He really didn't get to play his hero that fight. He wasn't in the shield from Paso. Paso kind of just bunkered himself up on the point and protected himself only. And that meant D-Field was so vulnerable. And you saw as soon as he got res, Noosh knew that there was nobody else around him because the Mercy had just left him. So it's an easy kill.
It looks like they're staying.
It looks like they're staying. It
D-Field
could
swaps.
be dangerous. Rani's actually gone over to the Bastion, so this is a big advantage for Legacy. There's no Ana to put the Iron Nade onto the Bastion, which is often the key to getting him down. But Wuvo's been taken out straight away by Ike.
Goodbye. It's a res, of course. I do like this from Legacy, though.
I do
something
too.
different.
It's fantastic, and they've got their nano boost to boot, which means they need anything they can from Athletico. Do they have the damage to dislodge this Bastion with a nano boost? I don't think so.
Ike's looking for damage around the side, so there's many threats that Athletico have to be aware of. One of them as well is Noosh, who's on the cart. Rani is being covered off nicely by his team, not getting too low, still full HP. Eventually the Rocket Barrage does get the better of him, and actually that's not cancelled somehow. It looked like Noosh was going for a hook. Lab wasn't available, passed with the sleep dart, and I suppose that's one way to get a Bastion off the cart.
They used Quad J's mech and the Transcendence there to protect Wuvo in that Rocket Barrage. The drum had come down too, so he's doing so much damage, and now Legacy have swapped it up completely to a dive. So the Bastion didn't work out, so they're going to go dive and try and dislodge this way.
They got some pretty decent mileage though.
Oh, they certainly did, and now Athletico's composition doesn't deal with dive too well. The only way is if they can get consistent pressure onto this team by using, you know, the fire rockets. But Rani swapped off the Genji onto the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, that's
does he know how to play this hero?
Interesting choice. Well, I don't know, but I like it. It's interesting. Triple dive tank for Legacy.
Yeah, they really want to be aggressive, I guess, and really shut down D-Field on that Widowmaker. But at the moment, nobody's in his way.
I mean, you can be aggressive with a Genji as well. So, Funray going down early in the fight. D-Field totally uncontested. It's not a situation for Legacy that they might have envisioned in their dreams.
It's not something Athletico would have prepared for either, I don't think. But they are dealing with it pretty well. They've just got to keep the distance. They've got to keep D-Field way at the back, letting these shots roll out. Wuvo can really stop and put a lot of pressure on the team here as he comes in with these damage-boosted rockets.
But the very low HP Mercy design drops down low onto the ground, but flies back on up. Biz continuing to be chased by these tanks, and Wuvo's going to blow himself up, I think there. No, actually Lab gets the kill, but perhaps Wuvo did enough of the damage to make it easy. Legacy will continue to push forward.
The space wasn't able to be used by D-Field. It's hard to find a nice headshot there. You have those three beefy tanks. Really, the only ones you can take advantage of are the Ana and the Lucio. But if they take the nice positioning, then it can be quite hard to get. So he has swapped over to the Brigitte, and it is the 3-3 for Athletico. No Mei inside as Quadjay retains the Diva Bomb. It's the only ultimate on the field this fight. Goobs will get a Transcendence, though, eventually.
Go for a boot, but has actually put Goobs out of position. That's a good dive in from Legacy. Fundraise dropping low.
Paso drops low too.
Self-destruct here actually catches Stolen. He has a real problem with that, continually getting caught by self-destruct. Is it enough to turn the fight around for Athletico? I'm not sure that it is. EMP from Ike has swung things back in the favor of the team in green. Fundray with the Primal Rage. There's a lot of low HP targets here, but Transcendence actually forced out there by Goobs. Might not be a bad result for Legacy, even though they do lose the fight.
I don't think it's the worst result for Athletico either. I mean, you're not really using this Transcendence for anything to counter, and he looks like he's going to go swap back to something. Maybe it's the Ana that he's going to swap back to, but I don't think that you'd be happy if you were Legacy there. They really wanted to cap the point. Now they've only got a minute 32 on the clock, and it looks like a defense is very possible for Athletico.
Well, Goof's going to have to hightail it back to this team. He's on the Moira, so that is going to help. Fade does get you back in quickly, getting taxied by design as well. So we're back.
D-Field's rally is going to be very important here. He can really sustain well through this. Design gets hacked early, but now they know where the Sombra is.
Yeah, they're not going to like that at all. But no EMP available for Ike just yet. He does drop low. Now self-destruct coming through from Noosh. Isn't going to connect onto anything. The sound barrier there for Stolen as well. Not so useful because Legacy was forcing all of Athletico away with the self-destruct anyway. Graviton Surge, Wubo. He looked at the ground to throw it just as he gets EMP'd on up. The timing for Legacy is just impeccable from Ike with that EMP.
Yeah, and you see the fight going the way of Legacy. Off that, they did have the nano boost and the sound barrier to open up the fight, lasting it long enough for Ike to get his EMP, which turns it around. Unfortunately, Wubo not able to use his self-destruct. No, as his Graviton Surge, and Quad J gets hacked, so he wasn't able to use the self-destruct. But will Athletico choose to hold forward here, or will they try and retreat? Looks like they're trying to retreat. Legacy not in position to chase them down and get those stagger kills.
A bit surprising to see Athletico retreating there. They have ults.
They certainly do. They have the Graviton Surge. They might have been able to take a fight there early, but it looks like they'll probably still get an early fight because Legacy have chose not to push the cart as they were swapping heroes. And now we have a Goat's Mirror. This is something that I'd like to see Atletico use so aggressively here because he's been an absolute star for this team.
A minute 40, no ultimates charged for Legacy, bar the rally. It's not a good looking situation for them. If Athletico handles their economy well, Wubo's looking for that grab and he'll get it out just as he goes low. Now self-destruct from Quad J. Will split apart the Athletico players and rest trying to finish things off.
The mismatch here is on the flex supports though. Goops is on the Moira and Lab is on the Zenyatta. That means there is more damage potential on the side of Legacy Esports with that Discord Orb and just the right clicks and left clicks going out from Lab. So I think Goobs will want to use this Moira ult as soon as possible.
Is it enough to overwhelm the ultimate advantage that Athletico have got?
Most certainly not at the moment. Just the defensive ults that Athletico have, they can really make this the last fight if they use this shield well and use the architecture of the map well.
Yeah, take their time before letting this fight really boil over.
They need to avoid getting taken poke though. But it will be an aggressive fight as they use the Moira ult and the rally to open it up.
Well, Legacy want potentially 2 here, and they might just get it. This fight looks like it's going to be a quick one in the favour of Athletico. Coalescence out, everything really out from Athletico, barring the sound barrier from design. Sure, it's going to net a fight win for Athletico, but Legacy come back with a vengeance here. 70% towards Grab, 93% towards Shatter. Stolen's 96% as well. I
think Shatter from Paso there might have been a bit of a waste. He used it, didn't catch anything, and the fight had already been won. There were already 2 in advantage for 2, so that could come back to bite them as Fundre has his Shatter. What can he get out of it?
For Athletico to slow things down here, hopefully get Graviton Surge up, self-destruct, but they're not going to be given that opportunity. The Shatter is good and answering sound barrier equally so for design. Does keep Athletico fairly safe. Grab's been eaten by Quad J. That is big. Ike's not happy at all about that one, and now we're at 90% for Wubo. Goobs is going to have a coalescence to chuck straight in there as well, but Paso does get picked up just before the Graviton Surge goes out, and that may mean Athletico don't have the damage to burst on through, which is exactly what happens. It's all gone wrong for Athletico, and that Shatter is going to seal the deal for Legacy. They'll be able to continue this push forward, and overtime is a ticking, but Legacy are still moving.
And Athletico used every single ultimate they had there. They used the grab late in the fight, the rally late in the fight, so this means they're going to be very low on ultimate charge going into the next one, which is going to be the last fight of the point. Ike has a chance to get a grab here. He's on high energy, I believe, and he will be standing forward to start poking. It is pretty dry for Legacy, but they have the advantage of the high energy Zarya and the Discord Orb to go into this fight. It's going to be a big nade from Goobs to pull off here.
Real chance gone begging for Athletico. Let's see if they can make amends for it here. Paso's going to look for the Shatter. He's really being pressured nicely. Shatter does go down. Ike, Lab on the floor, and now Lab smacked into a wall. Good charge from Paso, and a great way to start the fight for Athletico. They'll try and hold just before point C, and they will indeed be able to do that. Fundre Rani, the last alive now, and Fundre ticking away very low. The rally from Rani is definitely not going to be enough to sustain through the 6 players alive of Athletico.
And again, they hold off the back of that Paso Reinhardt play. He gets the first 2 instrumental kills in the fight. Taking Lab out early there was exactly what they needed. They needed a big play, and they got one from the side of Athletico. Now, game on. How fast can they cap this map? Can they get it all the way to the 3rd point?
Initiating match.
It looked to be a bit of a disaster in that first and second phase, going down so fast on that bunker composition on first and transitioning to second not too well. A few mistakes from Legacy cost them in that second phase. Rani going over to that wrecking ball didn't really get much value out of it, but they did manage to eventually get the cart through, as D-Field didn't get as much done as he really wanted with those sightlines.
You did speak about the perceived weakness for Legacy on these hybrid maps. Kings Road, 2 losses out of 2. Hollywood, 1 loss out of 1. And Paris is a 1 win, 1 loss. So these are maps that have been a little bit more interesting.
I think
Paris was obviously Assault. Barney is what I'm talking about. 1 loss out of 1 played. So that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think the difference between teams when they're not good at these hybrid maps and when they're not good at control maps is kind of like the way they swap and the way they think about the game, right? So these hybrid maps, they can be very difficult to swap your composition at any given time because you kind of need to rush back to the payload to get as many fights in as possible. So it kind of shows that the mechanics are there for Legacy, but their game understanding just isn't quite there yet. But as they play more, they develop, they learn as players, they'll get the hold of that pretty easily. So it's good to see they've already taken a King of the Hill win. Can they break the hybrid curse here?
Well, it's definitely defendable for Legacy, but they're going to need a good solid hold on point A.
This is a composition the San Francisco Shock like to run, where they run the Baptiste instead of the Brigitte versus the DPS compositions on hybrid maps. It allows you a bit more damage versus the DPS compositions. Obviously, the Baptiste being a hit scan hero can deal with the Pharah easier, as well as the fact that your healing is a bit more stable than a Brigitte, because you don't need to activate anything to get it. Ike though, looking to build some energy. That's what you need dealing versus these DPS compositions. You see him taking Wubo very low.
Shots through D-Field, but not really being able to charge much of that bomb up. Only at 13% so far. The Dynamite's not really connecting here. Contest on the point, of course, from Fundray, but now he's been knocked out of position. He gets Byronated as well. And the Pile Driver will be enough to finish him, even through the Immortality field, which is still positioning through here. It was a good attempt from Rani. So it's just not going to be the hold for Legacy here on point A that they really needed.
Stolen's dancing around. The Baptiste ult goes down. That's going to be a lot of damage for anyone shooting out of that cafe, but everyone's so low in there. And when you're in the cafe, you're not contesting the point. The EMP from Quad J, can he come out for it?
Well, Nush is going to be able to get back out onto the point and contest, but Wubo shuts the door right on Legacy. Rocket Barrage finishes off a couple, and Fundray gets there for just a second, so too does Lab. That's all it is. 1 second or... Also, 5 minutes. Wow.
5 minutes, and they have good ultimates too. They have the Bob coming up, they have the EMP, they have the Mines, the Nano Boost. They've got everything. All they used was the Barrage there to take that point. So this is good signs for Athletico going into the second phase. And Legacy have swapped to a bunker composition, which is kind of weak versus the EMP going in straight away. So maybe they'll be able to take advantage of this. 6 fresh ults on the side of Legacy. They really need to win this fight, Athletico. If they don't win this one, things are going to be pretty grim. As Ike back on the Widowmaker, we saw last week on this map, he played an absolute blinder. Got 5 kills in 1 fight.
It's going to be a hard fight though, with Quad J having an EMP.
He was cancelled
now as well. I don't know what's happened there, Smash, but you're right. Wubo now, Paso, they're all trying to get some kills, and even though the EMP was cancelled, it seems to be Athletico still winning the fight.
The sleep dart from Lab actually cancelled the EMP mid-animation. He made the fatal mistake of running on top of the Ana's head before he used his EMP. If you give the Ana any chance of cancelling it, a good Ana will take you out for there. And now Legacy, they swap again. So they just swapped over to a composition. 6 ults deleted. Now they're swapping again to this Roadhog composition, this Roadhog 3-3 that they've been playing versus DPS. But they're so late on the contest.
Are they even going to get a contest? Yes, they are. Fundray is on the point. Ike gets a hack across. Has to translocate out himself, but Wubo is eventually caught by the tanks of Legacy.
It's a 1-for-1, and he's been hacked in an awful position. He's managed to just get back in now. Wubo being rezzed means it's advantage Athletico in this fight.
You don't really want to be losing your main tank in a situation like that either for Legacy when they need someone to contest this point. Someone's going to have to find something big here. Can it be Rani to get a good hook across? That one seems to have gone just a little bit awry. 1-for-1 again, but now Legacy, they're back in earnest. 3 quick frags, and all of a sudden, it's advantage Legacy as they hold point B for another minute longer.
But they haven't built any key ultimates. The Diva Bomb's still low. Ike's doing his best to build this Sombra ult, but he's just not there yet. And Athletico have the full kit to go into this next phase. They got the Bob, the Barrage, the EMP. This is what they need to get this point out. There's only so little to capture. Rani's going to need to come up big on this Roadhog, maybe cancel a Barrage or cancel an EMP. Ike's going to have to find some hacks on some targets with ultimates here too.
Lab's going to have the nano boost though, which should be able to keep somebody alive in a dangerous situation. Rani with a whole hog, I'm not so sure how useful that's going to be here. Maybe it can have impact. But we're on the card now for Athletico. EMP goes across, only Fundray and Noosh connected, but Lab doesn't even have the opportunity to use his nano boost. It's a 3-for-2 trade, all things considered. Legacy just not being able to get the ultimates out that they need, but Rani might still be the saving grace here, holding on the inside. Passo, even despite having the nano boost, is going to be forced away by Whole Hog, and now self-destruct down from Noosh. It catches Wubo right after the res. Stolen Picnics also managed to get sound barrier in, and Legacy, they're fighting for survival, but they are surviving.
Rani has been impossible to dislodge in this little alleyway here on the Roadhog. He kind of contests the cart there too, so it's been very difficult for Legacy to get... Oh, sorry, Athletico to get any footing in these fights, and now they've realized that, hey, it's getting pretty dire. They had 5 minutes, and now it's only a minute 30. They swap to the GOATS composition, but Legacy will answer. Rani, I feel he will swap off the Roadhog soon enough. No, he's choosing to stay on it. No, he's going to the Brigitte. So now they're going to be running into an EMP, though. That's dangerous, because that's a fight-winning ultimate if you're this side of Legacy.
Like with the EMP, it actually hits all 6 Athletico players. Let's not get too excited about this one. It's done and dusted. That was a great EMP from Ike, to be fair. But, well, Legacy didn't really have to do a whole lot past that.
At that point, when you know when the EMP is coming, you just call for a quick reset, boys. But Athletico, they don't build any ults off that, so really, it's back to square one. Nobody's got an ult. Fundray's the closest, and we've seen how big those shatters can be in this matchup so far. On Anubis, he came out big, but Athletico, they've wasted 5 minutes on the clock, essentially. Can they cap this map out and keep it alive?
That does not connect for Lab.
No, but he's in a really good position to get some nice bio nades off for his team to go aggressive on.
Just being pocketed by Stolen as well, so it's going to be difficult for anyone on Athletico to really challenge that high ground if they do get up there. Lab, though, does drop back off. I guess that's off a boop of design. Bio nade actually connects onto Passo. I thought it went into the shield, but no. Legacy knows better. And Athletico are going to have to back away here, surely. Without your main tank, there's no chance. 20 seconds. Atletico can't stay. They cannot stay.
They can't stay, but how are they going to be able to get back in time? Wivo Defield going down last means they're slow heroes. They're going to be hard for them to get back, and they're going to be running into a Shadow from Dre, a Nano Boost from Lab. This is going to be a difficult one for take for Athletico. They need some big plays, but are they even going to get to the car? Quache's going to get stalled out. No! That means Legacy will win the series. Wow. Legacy, they're coming back. The back end of the season looks good for the boys.
That's all you're going to have to say, Smash. Wow. What a great hold from Legacy there, right outside of point B. Would not have thought that that was possible, but time and time again, they're able to get those fights working in their favor, even when it looks like Athletico is just about to push it over the line. There's someone there with an ultimate or a play that comes off. It sticks for Legacy, and a well-deserved series win, 3-0. Now, important job of finishing off this series 4-0, which is what they should have done last week against Melbourne Mavericks. They didn't because they lost the control map, but they can get a 4-0 this week against Athletico. Maps are so important for Legacy in the position that they're at right now.
Certainly are. If they want any chance of getting into the playoffs, they need these maps, they need these series wins, and they're doing everything they can to give themselves the best possible chance to go into those playoffs and make a dream run.
Dream run would be a bit of a Cinderella story for them, but unfortunately Cindy doesn't play on Legacy anymore. Now, for Legacy...
Thankfully for them.
Thankfully, yeah, you're right. Thankfully for Legacy, it doesn't. But for Legacy, I mean, it's not set in stone, right? We've been talking a lot about, if they win this series against Athletico, they probably make playoffs. And yeah, they probably do make playoffs. But it's still not 100% locked in. It's still going to come down to the maps. If they lose their series next week, if Athletico wins their series next week, Atletico's still going to make it because they're going to have 3 matches. So yeah, it's still a lot of factors in motion right now for both Legacy and for Athletico. But Legacy have done what they needed to do. They've put themselves in the best possible position. And now they just have to work on it next week, which I believe is against Ground Zero. That's a difficult one to win.
It is a difficult one to win, but anything is winnable in the Contenders Australia at the moment. We've seen that, like, every team has had a loss so far. Void Warriors going down to Order. There's been some pretty interesting results coming through, so I don't think that series is impossible for the side of Legacy, especially how good they've been the last few weeks. Yeah, they dropped the Koth map to Melbourne Mavericks, but they've gave Koth map to everybody. They've shown to be a lot better this week.
They have definitely. It's finally happening for Legacy. I really want to see them in playoffs. I think they're a team that deserves to be in playoffs. They've worked hard. They've kept that core roster together as well, which is what I really like to see, that progression of teams through the seasons. Makes for some really good storylines. So you can go back and look at the first season when Legacy was in Overwatch Contenders Australia, and we were saying, these guys have got no chance. And then they came into that season and got a good win against Athletico in the first week.
Yep.
Second week, they were able to get, I think, some points off of a couple of other teams, and they had a 3-2 loss against Blank, and we were thinking, hey, actually, Legacy might be not a real contender this season, but they might be able to push the issue. And then they lost to Mindfreak and they didn't make playoffs. But now, we're in that same situation.
Going into this season, we looked at Legacy as one of those teams that might be on the up and comer because of the finish they had last season wasn't the best, but they had good results at the start, and they'd shown that this meta kind of worked for them with Fundre on the Reinhardt, and Ike on the Zarya as well was kind of a star player, but now he's moved over to the Widow and he's adapted to that well. Fundre's moved around on tank heroes to the Orisa, he's doing well as well, so there are good signs for Legacy, and I think they do deserve to be in playoffs just because the hard work they've put off, they've stayed together, and it's paying off right now, but will it pay off in the long run?
Will it pay off next week?
That's the real question. That Ground Zero game is going to be an absolute doozy. You'd be silly to miss that one.
Ground Zero and Legacy for us next week. Athletico, who do they face? Mindfreak, I think, by the looks of things.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Mindfreak.
So right now, if you're Legacy, you're thinking, we have to face Ground Zero. If we lose, and Athletico lose, we go through to playoffs based on head-to-head. Or probably map differential, to be fair, but then also head-to-head. If we win, we go through 100%. If we lose and Athletico win against Mindfreak?
Well, knowing the players on Legacy, at the moment they'd be thinking, how good's this, boys? We're 3-0 up, we're having heaps of fun. Ronnie's probably having a ball of a time. They probably wouldn't be thinking that far ahead.
Well, they should be.
The average age of that team is about 12.
Believe me, I know. Stolen used to ruin my bases in Rust, lose my AKs, basically feed everything.
Absolute terror, isn't he?
He's a terror.
Well, he's on Lucio terrorizing Athletico at the moment.
But he's been going to the gym, so he's going to be terrorizing the e-girls at MEO, I'm sure. If he makes it.
Well, he's got a long way to go to make it. He's got an early fight to handle here as he's gone down. Feeding on command is Stolen Picnic. Ronnie manages to get the kill on Goobs to even it up, though.
That was a classic Stolen play. It's just like running out of the base in Rust with an AK and no armor. But Legacy will continue to try and make this fight work. Maywall comes back on up, maybe opens things for Fundre. Indeed it does. Passo so isolated. Now Fundre gets to have some fun time swinging the hammer around.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's swinging. Swinging for the fences. I can't see what he's swinging at. Maybe that's my old eyes, though. They managed to get out of spawn and clean it up. Rani on the Doomfist, Nush on the May. We've seen them run this 2-2-2 composition. It's quite a strange one. It's not really what you think when you think of 2-2-2, is it? You really think of like a Genji Tracer, a Genji Sombra, or a Para Sombra.
It's weird because, like, there's another argument, you know, like, does May fall into DPS, or does she fall into tank, or like, yeah, almost a support character in a way. I guess she's a DPS listed in the game, but like, is that really her role? Yeah, anyway, that's another question for a later day, as we do see Meteor Strike go down from Rani. Gets the heck out of there quickly. Low on HP. Fundre! That is what you want to see. It's a great beat, though. Design has almost saved his team, but I'm not sure he's done enough there. You can't really save a 5-man shatter.
Graviton Surge out, but will it be enough to turn the fight? Wuvo gets a kill. Needs a bit more though. Main tank down, and now Legacy just going wild in the back line.
When push comes to shove, Legacy just have enough momentum through that fight off the back of the Earth Shatter. God, that was a good beat drop though.
Yeah, it was an absolute fantastic beat drop. You don't often see those come out, but he was the only player that managed to dodge that Earth Shatter, and it was all valid.
Stolen dying to self-destruct again.
That's 3.
Name a better duo, Smash. Yeah, I've got one for you. It's you and me.
Yeah, we're fantastic, aren't we?
Easy peasy. Well, Rani's still trying to bounce back. I can't believe that Athletico is still being able to contest this point. It has been a very prolonged fight.
They've even thrown the Mayult into this one. So it's been a long time coming, but eventually Legacy will win the fight as they may wall off the spawn to say, please stop spewing in, stop it.
Lucius sleeping.
He deserves it now. He's played well.
Let's be real though, May was sleeping for like 500 years.
500 years,
I don't know how long it was, but she was in the ice, right?
Let's check the lore on that one. I didn't think they had cryogenic.
I'm not a lore guy. Smash, I'm an esports guy.
Yeah? Alright. Good to know. I'm sure we can get a lore check somewhere along the way. But Paso with this Earth Shatter. Fundre to match. This is going to be an interesting fight to say the least, because we've seen Ballerina, Dreamer go from the top rope many times. Will Paso take the same play?
How much effectiveness does Rani have on a piece of the map like this? Forward. You're right. He does have the Meteor Strike, so he can't afford to go deep diving. There's a nano boost onto Paso, but he's getting pushed all over the place. Stuck behind a May wall now. A Graviton Surge comes through from Wubo, and it's followed up by a nice Fire Nade of Goobs.
Legacy commit a lot of ults into that fight too. Fundre shattering his shield. Rani throwing his Doomfist out to survive, doesn't get anything. And the beat from Stolen wasn't enough. A nice Bio Nade from Goobs, as you said, really steals the deal. And this becomes a hard point to push if you're Legacy, because the high ground advantage for Azaria, for an Ana, really need to think about your cooldown usage to get through here. And this May is something it's pretty hard to get advantage of, because you're not using your wall to cut them in half really anymore, because they're not pushing through any chokes to try and get you. They use the wall now, but are they going to get advantage of this?
Graviton Surge into Blizzard is certainly going to be a terrorizing combo that Legacy are able to put down onto Athletico, and even with Sound Barrier out from design, you're just never going to survive through that much CC.
No, and they managed to get so much space just running up there, just running up that hill where they weren't in position on Legacy to really, Athletico to really take the advantage of the high ground there. They just let them take the high ground for free. So a bit unexpected there. I expected a bit more of aggressive defense out from Athletico. But we do see them, minute 58 on the clock, halfway through. We've seen a lot of teams get stalled up here. Athletico have some decent ultimates coming into this next fight. The May wall though, it's going to cut off this ball from Zarya. Wubo's all alone.
Poor Wubo. But it's okay, the rest of the team has smashed their way through the ice and they're returning to the point. Stolen's dancing! Dude, get back in the action! What's going on here? Well, Athletico, they do recontest well, and Ike is just running around. He's like, please team, where are you? Help!
This is a long staggered out fight.
Reminds me kind of a guy playing as a cowardly man in GTA RP.
I wouldn't know who you're talking about. Maybe a man backstage.
Maybe.
That Stolen dancing on the point reminded me of a moment many moons ago of Frogger doing a dance on the point. Season 1 land, 2018.
I remember these good times.
No, they weren't good times.
Good times, great classic hits.
But now, Legacy approaching once more. Can they get anything done here? Ike has the Graviton Surge. What's he going to use it on?
Nothing right now. Well, there we go. Ike was bionaded, so very easy pick there actually for Athletico. They're staging a strong defense here on Havana Phase B. Stolen Picnic goes sliding along the wall back to spawn.
Yeah, they are showing signs of life on Athletico, and it'll be such a shame for Legacy not to get the 4-0 here, but they need to start knuckling down if they want to get it. They need to start thinking about how they're going to approach this, because at the moment it's just not working out. Athletico, they have the self-destruct, the Earth Shatter, these control ultimates almost. And they are taking a more aggressive defense now. Just as I say that, Paso runs backwards.
Well, looking for an opening perhaps to get this Earth Shatter down, but his shield is very low, so has to fall back. Self-destruct is not actually going to catch any of the Legacy members. Lots of terrain to hide behind here. So still waiting for that Earth Shatter, but with Legacy so split, it's going to be hard to get a really good one across. Trying to get around the side of Fundre's shield. Stolen down low. Maybe there's an opening here for Paso with that nano boost. Still looking, still searching as Noosh falls early in the fight for Legacy. There's the Shatter now going through. Where's the follow-up though? Doesn't seem to be anywhere. Wubo's on the high ground, however, with that Zaya able to get some good right clicks down. It's going to have to take a miracle here from Fundre to turn it back, and that miracle goes straight into the shield of Paso. Unfortunately for Legacy, I think that is going to be the death sentence for them here, even with the Transcendence being invested from Lab. Now with the Graviton Surge out from Wubo, it's going to be too much for Legacy to deal with, but they're still fighting hard. Smash, self-destruct now from Noosh. Can it be the miracle that they need? No, it will not. Noosh is able to get the D-Mech back across now. Another Shatter down. It's just all happening right now. There goes Fundraise too, but there's a sound barrier. Look, honestly, I could literally just start yelling out ultimate names at this point, because that is all that is happening
get another one from Stolen.
And no one is dying. Smash, still no one is dying. Here comes another self-destruct from Quad J. When does that get used? Now it's finally thrown on in.
Catches nothing.
Catches nothing. Graviton Surge! It's been eaten! What is happening in this fight? I do not even know what I'm watching at this point, but finally, it seems Legacy have lost.
And
Goodness
Jordan,
me.
that's why we have the 2-2-2 lock coming in. To save your life. Because that was an absolute... That was like a
Smash, I think I need
fight.
mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Cindy! He's not coming in.
Daniel, please help.
So we've got... We've got a similar situation to our last series where the cart hasn't pushed that much. And Legacy are going to need to put up a big defense on this first point. Otherwise, they're going home with a 3-1 and they would have wanted that 4-0, that's for sure.
Yeah. This actually really reminds me of the Order and Warriors game on Havana, where that particular corner is pretty much where Warriors got held by Order. Admittedly, they were chasing the 3 caps that Order was able to get on the attack, but very interesting how it's ended in that same position.
That is one of the positions you can get stuck in, just because of the way the high ground works for those defenders. If the defenders get in that position and they have, you know, a good Ana player or a good Zarya player that rotates around the high ground and uses it really effectively, you can get those high energy grenades in on the Zarya and do so much damage. You can get those biotic grenades out from your Ana player, and it just becomes so difficult to push past there. Also, you can get some sneaky shatters if you 360 off the top. But we haven't seen any players do that, because they're all cowards.
Smash would have done it. What are we looking at there? Newspaper.
Looks like a photo of a bunch of people, you know, you get up on the bleachers, like a school photo. Yep. But couldn't read it though.
Can't really tell who it was.
Wasn't my school photo. I'm not old enough for black and white. Put mine up in colour.
Okay. I didn't realise that technology had progressed that far in Western Australia.
Yep, very smart, mate. Very smart. As we see an early fight coming out, Legacy have managed to catch Wuvo trying to exit the spawn door.
They've got a little bit more than Wuvo trying to exit the spawn door. You can hear Passo just screaming death throes on the horse. Well, that's a nice start for Legacy, that's for sure.
So that's another thing for the debate. Horses don't sound like that.
Oh. Sounds a bit like you sometimes.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, you might be having some truth there, but Passo, again, stuck in the door, he can't get out. But Wuvo's got now, and he's got himself a kill.
This is interesting, to say the least. Rani has been bionated, but seems to be okay on... Oh, yeah, that was fast.
Get him. As we see the cart not moving, but Ike has gone down. Maybe there's some aggression here. Ooh.
Deefield's hitting some shots. It's always a dangerous prospect ahead for Legacy. Flicking all over the place.
We're hitting shots now.
You know, is that every time he shoots, he sort of does like a little backwards and forwards flick.
Muscle memory, I reckon that is.
Yeah, it's for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I have this thing where when I'm playing Widow, like I'll flick instead of trying to like track.
So you'll start off the target and then flick to the target?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's the way some players aim. But it's all a comfort thing. People will tell you that there's one way to aim and that's the only way, but it's not true. It's a comfort thing, I think. Rani on the Road Dogg still versus DPS composition. He's going to feed a lot of old charges. Quad J has the EMP. I think that's what they're going to need if they want to get things going. He does use it, but nobody's going down yet.
So, Rocket Barrage available for Wuva, but I'm not sure that he's going to need it here. Legacy seem to be falling apart a little bit on Havana. I guess the job has been done, so it's not the end of the world, but maps are always going to be critical.
Certainly are, but they do have a chance to contest here. Stolen goes flying in, and he goes flying back to the graveyard as well as the Rocket Barrage comes out, and he'll get 3!
Well, I said it might not be needed. In the end, it probably was needed, but put to good use by Wuvo, who ends up dying to Noosh with a punch, but... Oh, what? How does he get 2 there? Like, come on,
It's
bro.
taken out design. The spawn's close, so it doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but it's still fun to kill someone when you've got the Bunny Blaster out.
Translocating.
Some composition swaps here. Wuvo's gone over to the Zarya and Passo's gone over to the Reinhardt. Defield's refusing to swap off Widowmaker. He's griefing. So they are running this
I don't
composition.
know
No,
if
he
he's
is.
griefing when he's hitting shots like he was.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. I mean, another EMP from Quad J. He needs to get more value out of the last one he got. He only got 1 kill. This has got to be a bigger one from him here.
Quad J's looking forward, and he'll get it. 4 players lit by him, and Legacy are not going to be too keen on that one at all. Passo gets 2, Quad J another, and Athletico progress on forward.
Could be
I
a
don't
very
know that
quick
Legacy's
finish.
going to get a good contest here.
Oh, this could be a very quick finish on the
Oh,
side. Oh, Stolen's
Stolen.
going in. He's got his beat, but beat it himself, actually. He's
What else
got
can
nano
you do
booster
at that
too.
point? You have to contest the cart, and if he dies with beat, that's even worse.
That's 2 ultimates committed to a contested cart. No kills yet. Passo is going to go down eventually to Nush on the Wrecking Ball. Has the EMP coming up
Is
soon?
this salvageable? Oh, this actually could be a good pile driver. No, he doesn't have it available. By the looks of, at least Legacy have managed to rally themselves onto the point. Stolen is still alive, so he's done his job. But where does the win in this fight come from for Legacy? It has to be Ike with the EMP, but he's on the low ground, looking around.
He's going back up to the high ground now. He knows. Passo has the Shatter though. Who wins? An Ike EMP or a Passo Shatter?
And which comes first? Actually, they both went out in that fight, but it seems Ike's EMP might have a little bit more of an impact. Translocate's out, I'm sure. Rally's available for Rani, but hasn't been thrown in just yet. Now will be invested. Good timing as well, because Fundray is low. Stolen Picnic actually gets caught by that charge. That's not good at all. That's a 1-for-1 again. The Squad J does drop. Now Wubo has got himself a Graviton Surge. That's followed up by a Shatter of Fundray, which is time and time again been excellent from Fundray and Legacy. Somehow they hang on.
Surely we don't see another team held in this exact position.
For 2 minutes and 20 seconds? I don't know.
Certainly going to be an interesting finish to this game as Nush just swapped over to the Zarya. So now we have a pretty much a mirror composition. No Sombra on the side of Athletico now. Quad J swapped over to the D.Va, a more comfortable hero for himself as we've seen. Passo's Earth Shatter, key to the fight. People can get very aggressive with this rally too and help set him up.
Not really much for Legacy to throw
There's
back.
a sleeping Rani.
Oh, it's a good block from Fundray there. And now he's going to get one better onto Passo. Then you finish him off, but the shield is up for Athletico and the Shatter is down. And Legacy, it's a struggle for them once again. It's not a great Shatter from Fundray. Not enough, certainly, to bring this fight back in their favor. EMP is great from Ike. It hits 6 players, but it's far too late to make a difference.
Stolen beats himself again.
Again, has to beat himself on the cart to stay alive. But Athletico, they do get over the line just at the 11th hour. It's not going to be enough to win the series, but it is enough to take some points away from Legacy, and who knows how important that could be next week.
Going into next week, it could be the thing that drives Athletico just over the top of Legacy, but who knows?
I do remember a Legacy did not make playoffs by 1 map because they didn't clean up a series against a team that they should have.
Well,
Cindy might be
will history repeat?
having some nightmares from that one. Will history repeat? I'm going to go with no. I'm still backing Legacy here.
Right. That's fair enough.
I think they've done enough. 3-1, pretty good. With the rest of the scorelines that they've been able to get throughout the season, you get your map off Warriors. Not every team's been able to do that. A map off the City Drop Bears. That's probably not as impactful. 2 maps off of Order.
2 maps off Mind
2 maps off Mind Freak. Sure, they dropped them out to Mavs, but they have had pretty good scores when they've lost. So they do have a pretty good map differential in comparison to a few teams. But, yeah, it could still come back to bite them here. Legacy, we'll have to see what the standings do look like when we get there. It's going to be very interesting heading
This
into
is that
next
big
week.
Shatter at the B. Look at that. That's beautiful. Design just one better. Just in the position properly. That's good Lucio play from Design. Not getting caught by those Earth Shatters. Lucio to get caught by Earth Shatters? You hate to see that. But this was a fun series. We saw lots of unique hero picks out. We saw no Torbjorn actually, which is something both these teams have picked a fair bit of, I'd say. We saw some Mei, we saw some Rani Doomfist, we saw some incredibly long overtime fights, which you really enjoyed in both defenses actually.
I mean, dude, it kind of gets pretty hard sometimes when the fight's going on for like a minute and there's not really a lot happening and we're just rotating through ults. I mean, that was the best one there on Havana. The hold from, what was it? The first initial hold that we saw where it was literally just 2 Wubo ultimate, 2 Earth Shatters from both sides. It was pretty crazy, but enjoyable, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's why they pay you the big bucks though, mate.
I don't know about that.
Keep talking for about 40 seconds while I sit here twiddling my thumbs, laughing at you.
Trying to figure out what's happening.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah, exactly. There was just too much going on. There's the results from this series. A bit of a letdown at the end there for Legacy, dropping Havana. No 4-0 for them this season, but at least it didn't have to go to Ilios. I think that's the one takeaway, because to go onto a control map, probably wouldn't back them.
No, certainly not with those statistics that they've had, but they got their first control win today, and that maybe gets them the momentum. You got to think about it, you know, they're going to be on a high.
The momentum on the control map.
That's important, all right? Control maps can be 2 maps in a series, so it's important to be good at them.
Yeah, it certainly is. I wouldn't necessarily say I think Legacy is at that point just yet. Look, there's still a lot more work to be done for Legacy. Even if they do make it to playoffs, but if they lose next week against Ground Zero, all that momentum that they get today against Athletico and last week against Melbourne Mavericks is kind of just shut down a little bit. So inevitably next week for Legacy, if we don't get a win, I still want to see a pretty close series where they're able to take something from it.
Yeah, certainly. Ground Zero have been looking pretty good though, so it's going to be a difficult task for Legacy to get there, but that will be the matchup of the week, I think. Those two teams match up pretty well. They have young DPS players that like to play the Widowmaker, the Flashy Heroes, the Doomfists, the Pharahs, so that's going to be the matchup for me next week.
And for Athletico, the job is even more difficult. Maybe you could say not having the head-to-head now against Legacy, it kind of means they actually have to win, really, it feels like, against Mindfreak. And
it's a tall order. They've been in good form. Yeah. Mindfreak have been in good form, and they've been showing to use these combos nicely that nobody else is really using. The pile driver into Widow headshots, the halts into Diva bombs. You know, they're using these combos well, so they're obviously studying up on the meta and stuff. So if they're putting in the preparation, I don't think Mindfreak will have any problems next week.
We're 6 weeks in Smash. We're getting close to the end of the season. Who's your 2 picks for the grand final?
Warrior Order.
Yeah,
Warriors Order.
Has to be at that point, right, doesn't it? I mean, Warriors going into this week was still sort of a question mark. But after what we saw today, or yesterday, you have to kind of put them in.
Well, see, I think Warriors could be upset. They haven't finished a series very cleanly. The only series they finished cleanly was the Mavericks, and we saw maybe it was a blip on the radar versus Order, but a team like Ground Zero, who's rapidly improved as the season's gone on, could be a struggle for a team like Warriors if they're not on their A game on that day.
Definitely going to be an interesting playoff. Still some time to wait for that, but one thing you don't have to wait for, Smash, is the Macca's play of the game.
Oh, thank Lord for that.
Well, Macca's play of the game between Legacy Esports and Athletico is going to be Fundray. Of course, it had to be the 5-man shatter, but you got to give a special mention there to Design with that sound barrier.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a two-way play of the game here, because there was a beautiful shatter from Fundray. He didn't even use anyone to set it up, he just read it. He saw the Fire Strike come out and he knew it straight away. That shield's not going to be up, so I'm going to go around this corner and drop an Earth Shatter.
Yeah.
But Design, he knew that there was a shatter coming eventually, so he was at the back, way out of position, so he couldn't get hit by that Earth Shatter. Returns the beat. Unfortunately, they still lose the fight, but that's good play from both sides there. So well done to Fundray and Design.
Yeah, Fundray gets the Big Mac, and
Design gets a pat on the back.
He gets the chips, the fries.
Yeah, I guess. Who gets the Coke?
The rest of Legacy, they can all
share. Yeah, right. They can just six straws in.
6 straws, and it's a good team building exercise. You know, they're going to need that heading into playoffs.
Yep.
That's the interesting thing that's kind of getting towards us now. Week 7 coming up. We've got only the 4 matches left this season. First place, not a lock at this point. Warriors having lost to Order. Second place, not a lock. Third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, seventh place, all up for grabs.
They're all alive, yeah. The only slot that's secure is Mavericks in 8th.
You don't want to be Mavs in 8, unfortunately. But hey, that Mavs roster building for next season.
Yep, certainly are. I mean, that's a building for next season roster. You can't really blame them. They're in 8th. It is what it is, but they're making the best out of a bad situation. But 1 to 7 being open, it's nerve-wracking going into the last week of the season. We'll have to see who comes out on top, who keeps their cool.
Now, who we got coming up on the standings? That's going to be the real question for me, Smash. Let's take a look and see where we are at this point. Legacy technically has the map differential over Athletico. That is just the graphical software issue. So Legacy is in 6th place right now. Athletico is in 7th. Sydney Drop Bears are ahead based on the match win-loss. 3-way tie, essentially, for 2nd.
That 3-way tie for 2nd is interesting because I think they have... The head-to-head for that is 3-way. So Mindfreak beat Order. Order beat Mindfreak. Ground Zero beat Order.
Wait, how did Mindfreak beat Order and Order beat Mindfreak?
Wait, no. Mindfreak beat Ground... No, Mindfreak beat Ground Zero. Order beat Mindfreak and Ground Zero beat Order. So there's a 3-way switch there, but Order have Mavs next week. Mindfreak have Athletico. It's very... it's up in the air. I mean, Order could still get 1st or 2nd, or Ground Zero could still make a run. I don't think 1st is in reach for them. It could be, but Warriors is the key next week. If they lose, then suddenly 1st place comes up for grab, but if Warriors win, then there's no way. There's no contention for 1st.
Alright, Smash. I've been told Legacy is actually in 7th place because of map differential.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of maps.
Makes no sense, by the way, but that's alright. We'll figure that out when we come into the next week. I mean... If they are indeed in 7th place, then that means there's a lot of work to be done next week. And that last map that they lost against Athletico and Havana
comes into play, doesn't it?
Comes into play, exactly.
Does.
So even though they've got the 12 up on the board there, it's still technically not quite there.
The positive is if you look at this season, we have 7 teams with above 10 map wins, right? They're so close. It's such a close season. This shows that the system's working, that talent